While driving through beautiful scenery, I often like to think about the traditions behind the locations. I think it helps you connect with the landscape and often see things differently. So as we travel through North Wales towards our next location, here's an old proverb from this part of the world. The Welsh language is beyond me, but the English translation speaks volumes to this Yorkshire boy. Everything you have in this world is just borrowed for a short time. How true is this in our journey of photography? So after driving from our sunrise location and the cafe this morning, we have driven across the mountains. Beautiful scenery, absolutely epic. Unfortunately there was nowhere to pull over, and the places that were available to pull over were covered in ice, so I don't really think the van would have stopped. But we've come here to Llanberis. I'll put the name of the waterfall on the screen because I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it. And I'm just setting off a long exposure at this waterfall with my 10 stop on. Let's see what that one looked like. I'm setting off another one already. My camera, everything's having a bit of a moment this morning. My other GoPro's not working. Batteries are failing everywhere. It's been really cold. It was -10 last night. And apparently there's a wind chill, or there was a wind chill of -21. So it's no wonder my hands, the ends of my fingers are freezing. But as I say, we've come to this waterfall and it's not great conditions. There's not really much light here. It's quite dark and dreary and a bit meh. But the actual waterfall itself is incredible. If you just take a little look, you've got the main forceful waterfall with so much water coming down there. You've got another overflow coming off here, and up here you've got just a bit of a trickle because there's so much water coming down here. You've got a nice little trickle there, so it's kind of like 3 waterfalls in one. So I'm trying to get nice and low. I'm trying to use these rocks as kind of like a lead in and a bit of foreground interest. I'm just sort of seeing what I can get. I'm having a bit of a play. I've got my 10 stop on. I'm shooting for about 90 seconds each time. And yeah, hopefully one of them will look quite good. I think the waterfall location is beautiful. And if I just turn around and you can see it behind me, it's fantastic. It's one of them ones that, like I said the other day, it's a nice place to visit with the family. It's accessible. There's steps, there's a nice path all the way in. But there's not really that many opportunities to get different shots because there's signs up saying don't enter the water. I wouldn't want to enter the water anyway because it's freezing and deep. I suppose you could scramble up the side and get a shot, but I think the trees might be in the way. So what I've done, I've gone from landscape to portrait, and I'm trying to get a bit more of these rocks leading you in. I've scrapped sort of using the 2 little dribbles coming off this cliff face. I might take a shot of that by itself, possibly with my long lens, but I'm just focusing on the sort of overflow and the main waterfall, all that masses of water flying and plummeting into that plunge pool, and hopefully about 1.5 minutes, which it's coming up to now. Let's stop that. Let's do 133. And yeah, that looks quite nice. You've got the viaduct also in the shot, and you've got a bit of silhouetted trees. So I'm quite happy with that one. It might need a little bit of editing, but however it ends up, I'll pop it up now for you. Right, I've swapped to my long lens now, and I think this is working slightly better. I think picking out the detail within the waterfall is working much better. You know what I said before about creating and capturing images to make inspirational pictures, so allowing space for text. That's what I've just done on the right hand side waterfall, which is kind of overflowing from up near the viaduct. I've kept the water flowing from sort of the top middle and then it moves to the right hand side, so the left hand side across all the mossy rocks is free for text. So that should be quite a nice one. I've then focused on the middle main waterfall, but I've focused on the rocks and all the moss and almost the jet black of the rocks, and that's where I'd put the text, and the waterfall in the background is kind of like the sort of byproduct of the image, if you will. It's not about the waterfall, but that's part of the image. And then these two little streams that are sort of just slowly flowing down the rock side, the rock face. I'm trying to pick out detail in them. Some of it's a bit all over the place, but some of it's beautiful. So I'm trying to just capture different parts of that. Just try and get another one now, because it seems like there's a bit more water coming over. Yeah, it looks lovely. I've kept the left hand side of the frame free, and I've got one of the two sort of falls of water coming down the middle, and then another one on the right hand side. I think some of these might look better in mono, but I'm quite enjoying picking out the detail, and I think it's important to do that sometimes as well, because as I've said in other vlogs, you can come here and try and capture everything at 10mm or 8mm, and it doesn't look as good as it does with your naked eye. So I think coming back with something, especially when there's not that many places to take shots from, coming back with something a bit more detailed, a bit more intimate, is definitely a good thing to get from well-known and sort of popular locations. So I think that's it from this waterfall location this morning. I've not managed to get a wide shot of everything that I'm happy with, because I just don't think the conditions and the sort of angles that you can get from here lend itself to that kind of photography. So with my long lens, I managed to capture some detail, which I'm really quite happy with. The vibrancy of some of the greens and the moss, and there was a leaf on that back cliff wall with like a little drizzle of water sort of running next to it. So I focused on the leaf, and it created like a nice intimate moment, an intimate capture. I think I'll leave that one in colour, but I think some of the other ones are lending themselves to mono. I think mono in this sort of dreary conditions, even though the light does seem to be improving slightly now, I think mono lends itself to that. Thanks as always for joining me on this vlog. We're going to head off to Bangor now, where we are going to a hotel tonight for a shower and some warmth instead of whatever it was, -10 I think it was when we looked at the weather app in the van last night. But this is, as I say, it's been a lovely place to visit. Thanks for joining me, and please do subscribe to the channel if you're not already, because this little road trip around North Wales, I've got lots more good content planned, and if the weather allows, hopefully I'll be able to capture that and bring it to you. So as always, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.